I'm Mary Lou Bedford, and I'm the CEO of the Central Palm Beach County Chamber of Commerce. On behalf of our board chair, John Carter, our board of directors, and our staff, we thank you for participating today. Although we are virtual due to COVID-19, the content for the programs we have today are informative and impactful. In a few moments, you'll hear session number 2 on tourism, and we have a wonderful panel lined up of industry experts, so we look forward to that. But before we get started, I want to recognize and thank our sponsors of today's event. So thank you to our presenting partner, Amerant, our corporate partner, Florida Public Utilities, our community partner, Minto Communities, and our progress partners, CEO Financial Services and Wellington Regional Medical Center. Thank you so much for your generous support of this event. We truly appreciate it. And now it is my privilege and honor to introduce one of our executive board members from the Chamber, Laura Trosclair. Laura is the Executive Vice President, Retail Banking Manager for Amerant. And so Laura, I turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to introduce Glenn Jorgensen. Glenn Jorgensen is the Executive Director of the Tourist Development Council, and he assumed this tourism industry role in 2013 after spending a year as Senior Vice President of Operations with Discover Palm Beach County, with oversight for financial, administrative, contractual, research, and visitor-related services functions. Glenn has 30 years of business administration and operational expertise in global capacity for 2 Fortune 100 companies before assuming a position as president and CEO of the Greater Boynton Beach Chamber of Commerce from 2003 to 2012. In his tourism role, he provides strategic direction for one of the largest industries in Palm Beach County through the contractual oversight of Discover the Palm Beaches, the Cultural Council of Palm Beach County, the Palm Beach County Sports Commission, the Palm Beach County Film and Television Commission, and the Palm Beach County Convention Center. So with that, I'll turn it over to our moderator, Mr. Jorgensen. Thank you so much.
There we go. Hopefully you all can see me now. Thank you very much. Thank you, Laura, very much for the introduction. I will start to introduce certainly the leadership folks of tourism in Palm Beach County. And first with that, I'd like to introduce my friend Jorge Pesquera. Jorge Pesquera is the president and CEO of Discover the Palm Beaches. He's a 45-year travel and tourism veteran. Joined Discover the Palm Beaches in November of 2007 to lead the destination marketing organization here in Palm Beach County. Prior to accepting this position, Jorge was president and CEO of the Aruba Hotel Tourism Association. He spent 10 years there, also 10 years at the Puerto Rico Tourism Organization, and was responsible for spearheading the construction of the $450 million Puerto Rico Convention Center in the surrounding district, trying to bring in certainly creating the marketplace for meetings and groups in Puerto Rico. He was the founding member of the Accreditation Board of Destinations International and currently serves as on their Destination and Travel Tourism Foundation Board. Jorge earned the distinction of one of the top 25 most extraordinary minds in sales and marketing in 2011. It was awarded by the Hospitality and Sales Marketing Association International. He holds a degree in hotel administration from Cornell University and has held senior executive positions at Hilton International, Conrad Hotels in New York, London, and Beverly Hills. So welcome, Jorge. Dave Lawrence. Dave is the president and CEO of the Cultural Council for Palm Beach County, serving as the chief arts advocate for the arts and entertainment community here in Palm Beach County. His oversight includes development grants initiatives for arts, certainly, and the Cultural Tourism Organization, and absolutely marketing, advocacy, arts policy development, and strategic planning and public arts. His latest effort was the creation of the new Arts Innovation Fellowship Program for creative professionals throughout the county. Prior to joining the Cultural Council, Dave was the president and CEO of the Cultural and Arts Program, the president and CEO of the Arts Council of Indianapolis, Indiana. He was a member of the host committee and co-chair for the arts and culture programs for the 2012 Super Bowl, number 46 in Indianapolis. And he conceived and created and launched the Indianapolis Citywide Mural Program, which was 46 murals around the city in honor of Super Bowl 46. This received national and international acclaim, for which he received the Indianapolis Cultural Vision Award. This past January, Dave was honored for his work in Palm Beach County by Art Synergy with the Vision Award for 2020. He received his Bachelor of Arts in Communication from DePaul University. Next, George Lindley. George is a member of the Palm Beach County Sports Commission for over 17 years as its executive director. And for more than 10 years, he has been that executive director. Under his leadership, Palm Beach County Sports Commission has achieved new heights. In 2019, having their best year since inception, the Sports Commission hosted 179 sporting events here in the county, generating about 260,000 room nights with over $208 million of visitor spending. The Sports Commission hosted some of the largest amateur sports events in the county. For certainly out west, we know it as the Intercollegiate Women's Lacrosse Association at the Palm Beach Equestrian Center. The National Field Hockey Association has also been out there. The American Youth Sports Organization National Games, USA Baseball National Championships, and Perfect Game World Championships. And certainly George has been programming and a big help in programming our latest addition to the stadiums here in Palm Beach County, in actually working with the teams here to make sure that we program the spring training sports complex for the Fit Team Palm Beach, Fit Team Training Complex of the Palm Beaches, and also Roger Dean Stadium. George received his the Florida Sports Foundation Leadership Award for his efforts in growing tourism in the state of Florida. And in 2019, George was recognized as the nation's Sports Tourism Executive of the Year from the National Association of Sports Commissions. He's homegrown right here, undergrad from Palm Beach Atlantic University and an MBA from FAU. And last in the panel, certainly one of the leaders in Palm Beach County tourism here, is Jody Cross. Jody is the Regional Director of the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association for Palm Beach and the Treasure Coast. And she has been that for the past 3 years. With more than 22 years of experience in marketing and strategic development, brand positioning, she's conducted many strategic planning sessions and certainly speaking engagements throughout the areas. The 15 states she has been involved with franchisee owners and operators and entrepreneurs. She launched the cultivated the South Florida chapter of the Commonwealth Institute, where she served as 10 years as executive director. She holds a bachelor's degree from Hotel and Hospitality Management from St. Thomas University, a master's from Nova Southeastern University, and she is an adjunct professor with Palm Beach State College. So welcome to certainly all of my leaders of tourism here in the county. And what I would like to do is take some time and give you an update on tourism here in the county. And then we'll go into a discussion and answering questions from certainly the executives who have joined me today. So I am going to share my screen with a PowerPoint slide presentation, and I will go through this fairly quickly, hopefully, but it'll give you an idea of where we are in terms of tourism in Palm Beach County. As you've seen, we've certainly met all of the individuals that have joined me today, and we'll be answering some questions at the end. Just to give you an overview on the collaboration efforts for our recovery plan, certainly the Palm Beach County, I report into Palm Beach County, I report to the county administrator, but the organizations that we have in the center of this slide are certainly the ones that have been planning and working on this recovery plan for tourism throughout the past 6 months. And we have launched, certainly over the past 3 or 4 months, different stages of our recovery plan. And certainly our other partners in this organization and making sure that we can certainly achieve everything we need for Palm Beach County has been our environmental management group as part of the county, Palm Beach International Airport, certainly FRLA, the Florida Restaurant and Lodging Association, and certainly Visit Florida, all great partners with tourism here in the county. Just to give you a little historic event activity, we have certainly been through a couple of these downturns over the past years. As you might remember, back in the Great Recession, we did have a 20% decline in bed tax collections. That is the revenue source for everything we do in tourism-related activities in Palm Beach County. We were very fortunate to add another penny to our collections in 2015. It gave us a little bit more of a revenue stream, but certainly the COVID activity has caused between a 23 to 33% decline in bed taxes in Palm Beach County for our fiscal year 2020. And you can even go back even further to 2001 when 9/11 hit us. We had a decrease of about 10%. So this is certainly worse than those two major impacts to tourism across the county, across the country, and across the world. Before COVID hit us, we were looking last year, we had a $54 million budget. You can see the percent allocations of how that $54 million is spread amongst our agencies and the things we do with it. The second one down is our tourism infrastructure piece. That's how we build convention centers. That's how we build spring training baseball stadiums, Roger Dean, and certainly the ballpark of the Palm Beaches. And then all the other agencies receive a certain percentage of this revenue so that they can put it to work. And we'll explain certainly as we go forward how those activities are done. 54 was where we were prior to COVID hitting. But first, the basics of tourism in Palm Beach County. And as you all know that, we're situated between Miami and Orlando, but certainly it provides people and businesses an opportunity. As you can see, 4 out of 10 restaurants look to tourists and tourism to certainly rely on travel. 1 in 10 retailers, 60,000 households are looking for tourism to help in their business community. Certainly from the standpoint of generating visitors, about 1.1 billion in direct spending is created from tourism in Palm Beach County. We also look at tourists paying about $100 million worth of taxes, local property taxes, sales taxes, and the like. We also look at about a $7.7 billion economic impact. We are about 12% of Palm Beach County's economy. That is the tourism sector. And certainly we have about 70,000 people that rely, our friends, our neighbors, who rely on tourism for their employment. So it's a very big sector, certainly, of Palm Beach County's activities. The record-breaking visitors, we have continued to increase until COVID hit. We were about 8.2 million visitors in 2019. We have had a 100% increase from back in 2008. We're projecting 2020 levels of about 6.5 million visitors, and economic spending will be down about $2.5 billion from our $8 billion total that we looked at in 2019. Construction continues, and certainly our construction industry benefits from tourism, building hotels across the county. You can see we've opened many in 2019. In 2020, the Ben opened just before COVID hit. The Canopy opened just after. And just recently in July, we just opened a Residence Inn up in Palm Beach Gardens. So we're very, very happy that certainly developers and construction continues on having hotel rooms, which is how we generate revenue for everything we do to bring visitors here. Some business intelligence, which I'll share with you. Certainly after COVID-19, a lot of research has been done by our Discover team our research person in Discover has gone through and identified a lot of information that we use to put our plans together. Certainly people will be looking for wide open spaces, as we know. They're looking for beach destinations, which we're very fortunate to have 47 miles of. They're looking for world-class resorts. There's no doubt we have that. And they're certainly looking for less dense areas. So the 39 cities and towns that we have in Palm Beach County are certainly lend themselves to a great opportunity for visitors to come here and be socially distanced and be able to enjoy their stay. Certainly the things they're trying to avoid is they're going to avoid cruises. They're going to avoid those crowded destinations, and international travel, as we all know, has certainly been halted to a stop in these past months. A little reality check for us. Certainly this is what happened to us in the Palm Beaches related to hotel occupancy. In April, we bottomed at 20% occupancy. We were coming off record year. Certainly our January, February were record numbers in the county in terms of occupancy, bed tax collections. We hit the month of March when things started to, certainly we understood that COVID was with us and we had to deal with how we were gonna recover from this activity. April, we bottomed out and we have been on the uptrend as we've continued to open hotels over the past months. And we are averaging right now and I think I'll take it to the next slide. This is just a sample that the Discover research team puts together every single week for us. From July through August, you can see that certainly we have gone through and seen occupancies compared to weekday versus weekend. We're seeing roughly during the weekdays about 35% occupancy in our hotels across the county. And then as we get to the weekends, we're up in the 40s to mid 40s. So we're averaging about 40% occupancy across the county right now in the Palm Beaches. And you can see by location in the county, north, south, central. Central County is certainly exceeding expectations for occupancy up in the mid 40s. The South County with a significant amount of our hotel rooms in the county with the Boca Resort and certainly Delray Beach, who's gone through a lot of building activity of hotels over the past year, is certainly struggling a little bit with the 30% category of occupancy, but we're starting to see that also on the uptrend as we get into September. So that's good news. You can see employment, certainly big challenge for us, coming off 96,000 individuals who were employed in the leisure and hospitality jobs in the Palm Beaches in March. That fell to 51,000 in the month of April, a 45% reduction. We've continued to see improvements in that. You can see June to July, we had that surge that happened in early July. So again, we had about 6,200 folks that were either furloughed or laid off, and it's across the board. Right now, the hotels are operating at about 50% of what we would normally see for jobs in the hotel sector of this leisure and hospitality component. The hotel recovery, RevPAR, which is revenue per available room, we are probably going to be the first in Florida to recover. As you can see, and across the nation, our revenue per available room is really solid. We're seeing it over last year. So that is going to allow us to certainly come out of this recovery. And the leisure traveler, who has always been the one that brought us out of the Great Recession, the one that brought us out of 9/11, the leisure traveler is going to be the one that helps bring us out of this COVID-induced recession that we're in right now. Just to give you some ideas of the budgets, as I mentioned early on, 54 million was what we had last year to deal with. But right now we're down to about $40 million with the reduction in revenues we've seen, and we will see out through the rest of 2020 and then also into 2021. And that certainly impacts everything we do and all of the organizations, not only with the tourism infrastructure that we have to maintain, but also with our marketing program. So everybody has gone through some pain. Everybody has gone through budget cuts and reorganizations, and we're on the track right now to be returning this. And certainly as we go out, the recovery of our bed tax revenues will probably not see the same of 2019 until 2023, early 2024. But we're on the right trajectory, and that's all that counts. We did go to the Board of County Commissioners over the past couple of weeks. we're at the Board of County Commissioners on on August 25th. And we asked the board to approve a marketing stimulus plan so that we can make sure we were able to go through and continue to be top of mind for all of those folks that want to take a vacation, whether it be a local stay vacation, whether it be a drive vacation, or certainly whether it be getting on a plane over the next couple of months. So we were very fortunate to get approval from the board. They allowed us to take $2 million of uncommitted funds from our beach program. We had a special projects fund, and they allowed us to take $2 million of that. They also allowed all of our agencies to go through and utilize reserves, which we're in very strong reserve positions. We are a very conservative Tourist Development Council board, and certainly we want to make sure we have reserves put away for just times like this. And then we also decided to just hold back almost $1 million of this stimulus that was available to us, just so if something came up we needed it for, we could react very quickly to. So $6.5 million worth of stimulus the Board of County Commissioners approved for us to put into marketing over 2021 and 2020. The recovery platform, our partners at Discover the Palm Beaches were really the ones that developed the platform for all of us to work on and launch as we came into the recovery activities. The first relaunch strategy that we had was certainly health and safety is the most important thing. We want to make sure that our visitors and certainly even our residents understand that we take this very seriously. And all of our hotel partners, our restaurants, our cultural institutions, and I'll share with you a program that we are spearheading over the coming months, and we have been very well received with a little later in this slideshow. But health and safety, the most important thing, we want to make sure that we get that message across to visitors who are coming to the Palm Beaches. Certainly the recovery of this we have been doing since early May, and it will go all the way through our entire recovery program. Recovery of health and safety certainly is number one. For anybody that's looking to come to the county, we want to make sure they understand that we are masking up, we are social distancing, and we are certainly washing our hands and making sure that they understand that this is very important to make sure that we continue in certainly the trajectory of positivity and getting this under control here in the county. All of our partners, the Film and TV Commission and the Palm Beaches TV channel, certainly the cultural tourism sector with the Cultural Council for Palm Beach County, and the Sports Commission are intricate partners in everything we're going to do for this recovery program. And what I'd like to do is just share with you stage one. Stage one was in place early June. We started to really push the stay and play local, and that was focused on not only Palm Beach County and our residents and certainly our friends and neighbors to go out and stay in a hotel, go out to the restaurants, go out to those cultural institutions that were open, and certainly begin to help our friends and neighbors in our business community, help them to recover from this COVID-induced recession. And certainly that was stage one. We did certainly start a lot of activity, and this actually bleeds in to Broward and Miami and up into Martin and St. Lucie counties. I'm just sharing some of the digital activity that each of the organizations have been putting on some of the social programs and certainly digital media across some great billboards that we've had down in certainly Broward and Miami to make sure that people understand that this is another option for them to come and share and stay and play in the Palm Beaches. We certainly, I think I might have passed one. The Film and TV Commission has been hosting a Palm Beaches TV Facebook watch party. We've been doing that every single week since the month of June started, just sharing some of the programming that we have on the Palm Beaches TV channel to keep in people's mind that, when things do free up, you'll be able to enjoy all these great places that we have here in Palm Beach County. Certainly the cultural team has been working to get the message out about our cultural institutions as they continue to open up. And certainly the Sports Commission, their stage one has really been working on and working very closely with our Parks and Rec organization in the county to get the venues open that we can start to host local events. And certainly as we start to get into our next stage, which is, and here's a spot, hold on.
Beaches. Return to crystal clear waters. Paradise is waiting at your doorstep. Explore underwater wonders. Stretch out along. Tropical sandy shores. There's always more to uncover along 47 miles of Atlantic coastline. Reconnect in your own backyard to support local businesses. Stay and play local at thepalmbeaches.com.
So stage two, we are in stage two right now. We have launched certainly some marketing activities. We've always been in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and Orlando, but we will start to go, and we've actually broken stage two down in some phases because we were very concerned. We don't want to start to increase the positivity activities and cases down here in Palm Beach County by visitors coming in who still may be coming from hotspots. So we have worked very closely with the Emergency Management Center, and we're making sure that we're certainly the Operations Center of Emergency Management, that we go into those locations who are not worse than we are, but they are equal or better than we are in terms of positivity. So we have launched stage 2A, which we will be going in by the end of this month, Orlando and the Tampa markets, and inviting people to be in this. This is the drive market stage for our marketing activities. And as you can see, we'll be in some billboards, the Palm Beaches Pledge, which is certainly something we hope all the businesses of the Central Chamber are signing up for. That is to make sure that people really understand that you're going to spread out, you're going to mask up, and you're going to sanitize when you're here in the Palm Beaches. Certainly social media is a big play on that. And we're making sure that messaging is out also, that when you come here, we're still under health and safety guidelines, but you can still enjoy certainly the Palm Beaches with all of the things we have to offer in the great outdoors. Certainly on the leisure sports side, the Sports Commission is going to be working with Discover to go through and work on this stay, play, and drive activities here. So they're going to be doing some advertising to make sure everybody understands all the sporting leisure activities we can do here in Palm Beach County. Culture is certainly on the same, where we see more cultural institutions opening up. So some of the museums are available and opening up. And certainly we're going through and the stages of sports, working on getting more sporting activities here in the county opening up.
Wide open beaches are just a short drive away. Discover the Palm Beaches. The area's best resorts are offering special rates just for Florida residents. Miles of uncrowded beaches stretch from Jupiter to Boca Raton. Small cities and beach towns are waiting for you to explore. Sun-soaked golf courses are inviting you to play. The Palm Beaches are less congested and more relaxing. Special rates available for Florida residents. Book now at thepalmbeaches.com.
And then stage 3, that'll be the fly market. Certainly we're looking forward to welcoming all of our visitors who come back via planes into PBI. You may have heard PBI announced last week that we will have now a nonstop service daily from Los Angeles. So that was a great win for the Palm Beaches International Airport. And we will be getting into other markets. Certainly we've also broken stage 3 down into 2 different sectors. We'll be focused first on the New York, New Jersey markets, and then we'll be in Boston and Washington. This will happen certainly later in the first fiscal quarter, December and January of this year. Certainly group nights, I'm sure you're all wondering about groups and meetings, and we have been on a tear over the past years. We have increased group activity in the meetings sector by about 92% since 2014, but certainly that has changed now. We're into a different time, but we will be recovering, and certainly the convention center, which has had a great run over the past few years, getting to 53,000 room nights in this past 2019. We're still, the convention center has been dark since COVID came, but we did have our first convention in the month of August. A longtime partner with us, Florida Fashion Focus, has been here. They're here 4 times a year, and it went very, very well. We're doing some improvements, as you can see in this picture. The outside area is now being turned into an outside venue. we're going to have a sky room, which we call it. It'll be an outside venue for groups and meetings to enjoy and have certainly activities outside during their stay here in the Palm Beaches at the Convention Center. And then the Palm Beaches Pledge, and this is the last piece I'll share. We'll get into some questions with our tourism experts. We have supported the Discover the Palm Beaches and their initiative to bring the Palm Beaches Pledge to certainly the county. We have been working hard to get the Global Biorisk Advisory Council's accreditation program into all of our hotels, into our cultural institutions. The Palm Beach International Airport just received their accreditation for this advisory council, and the Convention Center also received accreditation over the past couple of weeks. So we are making sure, and this really is to do with cleanliness of these facilities and making sure people understand we're following the standards, a global standard for making sure we clean our hotels, our cultural institutions, our sports venues, and certainly welcoming as we welcome our visitors into the Palm Beaches. And you can see we have a couple of hotels already. The Hilton West Palm and the Brazilian Court are already accredited. And this is it. Spread out, mask up, sanitize around. The Palm Beaches Pledge. We are committed in all the tourism agencies to making sure that people understand that that is absolutely important for all of our visitors as they come and welcome. We welcome them and they enjoy the Palm Beaches. So with that, there's certainly a toolkit that's available from Discover the Palm Beaches. I hope you all go to their website and check it out and sign the pledge. We're certainly looking for more and more businesses across the county to sign that pledge. So with that, I'm going to unshare, I think, and bring back our panelists and start our session. If all of our panelists can come to the room, I guess we'll start our questions around the room. So for Jorge, Jorge's certainly heads up the destination marketing organization for us. And if Jorge can have his screen, I think we'll have Dave and certainly Jody and George. And
yeah, Glenn, it says that I cannot start my video.
Start your video, huh?
So I'm starting. Maybe, let me try it now. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
Maybe we're gonna. All right, we got Jorge, we got Dave, we got Jody. George, can you can join us too? All right. So I'll have the first question we'll have is for Jorge. How did Discover's role change as you saw the impact of the pandemic come into all of our key markets, Jorge?
Well, Glenn, as you recall, you and I worked together at the Bend when things began to unravel, and we thought at the time that we could salvage the state of Florida from the impact of the pandemic. And little did we know that a couple of weeks later this would be a national calamity. And what we realized right away was that we needed to pivot from being a sales and marketing organization to becoming a trusted source of information on the pandemic and the impact that it had on our industry. So we shifted gears to put a lot of information on our website regarding CDC guidelines, regarding county guidelines, state guidelines. We immediately created the first webinar, or actually a live seminar, with the director of the health department, Alina Alonso, at the Convention Center, to get out the first round of information that we knew at the time. I remember the famous phrase, if it dries, it dies. It didn't turn out to be that way, but we really shifted to providing the local community and potential visitors with a lot of really as solid an information as we could at the time. We worked with, the order to shut down hotels and only allow essential lodgers was issued at the time. So we established a system through our group sales and services organization to contact all the hotels and figure out who was available to house those frontline workers, and also even individuals who had been affected by COVID, who might quarantine in those hotels, just to make it a little easier for the first responders and folks in that category of work to have an easier time during those early days. So directing businesses to the right resources and providing a forum for discussions with health officials, state associations. We had a webinar later on with the Sports Foundation, the Retailers Association, the Spa Association, to let everybody know how they could do all the right things to build that trust back into the community. So that was the main thing.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jorge. Dave Lawrence, can you describe the pre-COVID environment for the arts and culture sector and cultural tourism in the Palm Beaches here? Just give everybody an insight into that.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Prior to COVID hitting, we were experiencing record attendance at cultural institutions. Every year, arts and culture provides $633 million in economic activity in Palm Beach County every single year, $633 million. There are nearly 15,000 full-time workers in the sector. So clearly, the arts and cultural sector is an important part of our tourism engine for Palm Beach County. There's research that suggests that cultural tourists stay longer and spend more. So these are exactly the type of people that we want to welcome to the Palm Beaches to explore all that we have in arts and culture. And we truly have, dare I say, a world-class arts and cultural sector with major museums, phenomenal theater companies, wonderful science and history institutions, and everything in between. So we were really celebrating some real wins before the pandemic hit us.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. George, certainly sports, we're all dying to do more sports, and it's crippled the events industry of sports, there's no doubt, across the nation, across the globe. How about the Sports Commission? How are we assisting in the recovery plans? Give them a little insight into that, and certainly the things you're doing with Discover the Palm Beaches for that leisure sports travel.
Yes, Glenn, it's the pandemic, the onset of COVID-19 impacted the sports universe across this nation and across the globe. Unlike any other challenge that we've faced before, we've seen the sports event industry come to a complete stop. And the pandemic transformed what was considered to be the most recession-resistant tourism and entertainment product in the United States to one of the most vulnerable. When you think about a health crisis and the gathering of individuals, sports all of a sudden becomes incredibly vulnerable. And so we were on another record-setting pace for sports tourism during the first of this fiscal year. Up until March, our Sports Commission was outpacing the record-setting numbers that we experienced in 2019. And then the pandemic comes and everything stops. And it has been a challenging time, but we're optimistic as we are in the midst of recovery. And we have engaged a recovery plan that is in line with Discover the Palm Beaches, the plan that they helped put out to lead all the TDC agencies. The first item that our Sports Commission tackled was, and you mentioned it, we were working with local sport organizations, working with industry experts, and working with our Parks and Rec departments to understand what we could bring back first and what we will be able to bring back first in terms of sports recovery. And we were identifying sports and venues that lend themselves to social distancing. So golf, racket sports like tennis, equestrian sports, motorsports, endurance sports, outdoor sports, individual sports, all have distancing built within that framework. And so we knew those events or those sports would be able to come back to life more quickly and more efficiently during the pandemic. Now then, and where we're at right now is in stage one, and as the county is entering into and has entered into phase two, and there's certain sets within that phase two, and I'm hoping by November we're into a full blown phase two effort. I believe we'll get into stage two, but right now we're supporting sports activation on a localized approach. Again, this is similar, and this is in line with the platform that Discover put out. We know that we can't be hosting wide regional and national tournaments that will bring in visitors from outside the county until our local youth providers and our local leagues are practicing, hosting camps, and even playing games. And that's what we're doing. We're supporting those local sport organizations to the best we can. We'll move, hopefully in the coming weeks, if not coming days, we'll move into a relaunch of sports events in a modified format to adapt to the pandemic. And as you mentioned earlier, those events will be primarily tailored to Florida athletes, to regional participants, catering to Drive Market. And then the next stage will be a relaunch events that from a national perspective, and that would require airlift. And when we get to that point, I think the county will be enjoying a fuller recovery. And while all of that is taking place, our sports commission is continuing its development efforts. We're continuing to recruit sporting events to the Palm Beaches. And while we're not hosting events in a robust manner at this moment, we are winning bids to host business for 2021 through 2025 and building the sports landscape for Palm Beach County into the future. And we have been successful doing that during the pandemic.
That's great. That's great, George. Appreciate that. Thanks so much. Jody, we're all dying to get back into the restaurants. What is going on? What's the state of the restaurant industry?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. So the restaurant industry, oh boy, I wish there was really great news to report, but we're sort of got 5 issues on the burner that we're dealing with. At the moment, about 2,000 restaurants have permanently closed in the state of Florida. The restaurant industry has 1.5 million employees. It's the largest employer in the state. And so over, I think, 930,000 of those employees have been laid off or furloughed at the beginning of COVID. Some have been brought back. To bring it down to Palm Beach County, we have 2,462 restaurants here. So the first issue really is unemployment. It's been a choppy recovery. We gained a little ground in June. We lost a little ground in July as we shut back down. Our county, with the 2,462 restaurants, has about 60,000 restaurant employees, and 2 out of 3 of those employees are either furloughed or out of work or out of jobs. Some are being brought back. I did see the hiring thing go on yesterday with CareerSource, so that was optimistic for me, but that equates to maybe around 40,000 local employees unemployed at this moment in the restaurant industry. Second issue is closures. So according to the National Restaurant Association, 4 out of 10 restaurants is looking to close their doors permanently. We've all heard the stories, Chez Jean Pierre, Ruth Chris, etc. We all know somebody that's closed in our neighborhood. So if you look at that with about 40% closures and the amount of restaurants we have, we're looking at about 985 restaurants that possibly could disappear in our neighborhoods. And a lot of those are mom and pops. They just don't have the bandwidth to survive it. They don't have the resources and the savings. And I've heard a lot of stories about people mortgaging their homes to try to save their restaurants and things like that. So not great there. Restrictions and phasing. South Florida entered phase 2, as George said, but the growth has been impeded because to understand the restaurant business at 50% occupancy with 6-foot distancing, a lot of the fine dining restaurants couldn't even open. I've got restaurants like Berry Fresh that have 30 seats. And so would that be 15 seats? And they're wondering, should I turn my lights on for 15 seats? So it's kind of tricky. It has been eased with the bar seating a little bit and the curfews relaxed. So we're thankful for that. And we're hoping to be able to get into phase 2 or the next set of phasing sooner rather than later. But the sales volume in restaurants is down about $131 billion at this point. The fourth issue really is consumer confidence. And so we've done a lot to work on that as well as the county. So thanks for partnering with all that. With our Florida Seal of Commitment program, where people go above and beyond for sanitation and safety. We've got about 100 restaurants now, and Cafe Chardonnay, Berry Fresh, Cucina Palm Beach, Okeechobee Steakhouse, Marriott Singer Island, the Ben, a lot of hotels and restaurants have signed up for that program, and we're very thankful for that as well. And then the expense of PPE. There has been an exorbitant amount of expenses for adding on the PPE. $10,000 I've heard from some restaurants, $2,000 ongoing for plastic dividers, disposable menus, sanitation stations, etc. So they've been hit pretty hard, and those are kind of like the top 5 issues that are happening right now in the restaurant industry.
Thank you, Jody, very much. Appreciate it. So with 10 minutes left, I'm gonna jump some questions here, but we're gonna try to get a question in from everybody. How about Jorge? How about the short-term prospects for leisure and group markets at this stage of our recovery?
Well, Glenn, as I think you mentioned, leisure has been picking up at a steady rate since April. You know, we went from 20 to 30. Now we're hovering close to 40% occupancy with those fluctuations between weekend and weekday. And it's a testament to the power of staycations and the South Florida market. I mean, the Miami and Fort Lauderdale markets have been tremendous. You know, all those people in those high condominiums, high rises need to get out. They don't need to be waiting for their elevator, as you know, all the time. Group has been a bigger challenge. Most events have canceled until the end of the year, and some in early 2021. But the sales team has done a great job relocating a lot of the business into mid 2021. Believe it or not, we now have more room nights on the books for the NEAT period of 2021 than we had in 2019. So that's a good thing. And hopefully we're going to be able to execute on all those events. And so we're booking into 2021 and 22 and so forth. Small groups are happening for sure within the safety protocols that are allowed. The convention center, as you mentioned, hosted the first event in August. And a lot of these events are becoming hybrids. What used to be a 300 room piece of business is now 100, or what used to be 100 is now 30. So we're having to kind of redo our database, clean our database to figure out how we're going to approach pieces of business that used to be for bigger destinations that could possibly fit into us into the future and so forth down the line. So we're optimistic about that.
Thank you, Jorge. Appreciate it. Dave, how about what's the impact on the cultural sectors since the month of March? I know you've shared them with me. How about sharing them with everybody?
Thank you. It's been profound. We did a survey of 62 cultural organizations that receive funding from the TDC. The overall economic loss reported so far since March is $48 million. This includes $26 million in earned revenue lost, an anticipated additional earned revenue loss of 16.6, and then on top of that, contributed income of 5.4 million. There have been 1,600 events that have been postponed or canceled, which translates into an audience of 888,277 people that have not been able to attend cultural events. The good news is that organizations are responding with virtual events. Since March, they've held 778, and there's another 529 on tap through the end of the year. So the cultural sector is one of the slowest to recover and also one of the hardest hit. And one of the things, as Jody touched on a few minutes ago, is there are some unique challenges to cultural organizations in reopening, especially those that are performance-based. If you think about, not only do these institutions have to worry about their audiences, they also have to worry about the people on their stage, the actors, the singers, the dancers, the musicians, and keep them socially distanced and all of that. So that is why we're going to see a much slower recovery amongst the cultural organizations. Many of our performing arts partners are indicating that they won't be able to reopen until the fall of 21, just because they can't make the economics of it work. So the impact so far has been profound, but we're really hoping for a strong bounce back at some point.
Thank you, Dave. George, let's think ahead to 2021. What's sports going to do for the biggest rebound piece of tourism here in the county, and how's the impact on the sales of activities going forward?
Yeah, I definitely, like I mentioned before, our sales effort has been very strong. Since the pandemic, we've landed probably close to 40 new events spread out from 2021 onwards to 3 or 4 years beyond that. And we're rebooking a lot of the existing business and as Jorge mentioned about the groups, we're rescheduling and trying to move events around. So we're optimistic that 2021 will see more recovery. And I think it may take till 2022 or even 2023 to see the numbers that we saw in 2019. And in terms of rebounding, I think the sports that are rebounding the strongest right now are those that were able to survive or through the pandemic with their natural distancing. Equestrian sports actually hosted a summer series. They will be coming back to online for their Holiday and Horses Circuit and the Winter Equestrian Festival. We are working on bringing the PGA Tour Champions, which was formerly the Senior Tour, back at the end of October. And there's the Palm Beach International Raceway is open right now. They're hosting motorsports events. But I am hopeful by November and we get into the later fall and close to the winter that we'll start to see more sports events and more group business come back. I hope we'll be in a phase 2 recovery, and I'm hoping that's the case.
That's great, George. Thanks for touching on the equestrian industry, because that's certainly important to the Central Chamber organizations and folks. Jody, how about threats on the horizon? I think that's something that we want to make sure we touch on before.
Yeah, definitely. So just to add to the rebound, I mean, we really need to see consistent job growth instead of loss. Palm Beach County is at about 11% versus last year it was 3.6%. So, we've got a long way to go to regain that ground. And one of the big threats on the horizon is, PPP funding has run out. The employment on the restaurant and hospitality side has stalled a bit. And then we have on the November ballot, Amendment 2. Amendment 2 is a $15 minimum wage amendment, and it will virtually kill the restaurant industry. They will be faced to cut jobs, cut hours. Automation will be forced on the quick serve industry. And, we've talked to some of our restaurants locally, and they've done the numbers on it, and it could be upwards of 4.8 million for some of our larger groups that have, 6 or 10 restaurants to their payroll, and independent operators as much as $400,000 on their payroll cost. It's all about the tip credit. And so that is a job killer. So we're really worried about that. And we're hoping that we can just educate some people about that amendment that's coming up in November. Also, the election year, that is, people have no discretionary income right now. They're just waiting to see what's going to happen. So that's a threat. 28% say they'll travel in Q1, and, about 40% say they're comfortable dining out. A lot of them are dining outside, but they're getting more comfortable with that. And then, of course, social unrest, that can kill tourism in a minute. So we're just, watching all of those threats now. Maybe there's going to be another round of PPP funding. We hope so. And we hope that we continue to see employment growing. And those are some of the threats that we see on the horizon.
Thank you, Jody. Appreciate it. Jorge, I'll probably have you wrap up the last question, it looks like, because we're coming up to the nth hour. How about optimistic, pessimistic about the long-range prospects for tourism here in the county?
I am very optimistic about the future of tourism in Palm Beach County, Glenn. As you mentioned, we are ideally positioned as a destination for a faster recovery. We have 47 miles of beaches. Beaches are the number one thing people are saying they're going to look for. We have small cities that are very manageable, wide open spaces, award-winning parks and rec department. And the increase in hotel options that we have in urban areas is something that we will capitalize upon in the future. We have a convention center district study that's giving us a roadmap into the future with the clear need for a second headquarter hotel, for the structure over Okeechobee Boulevard, with all sorts of cool things that we will add to the convention center. That's going to be a fantastic attraction and a trial for major conventions to come here and test the waters about Palm Beach County. The future of a tourism master plan is also something that you have been agreeing to, and the TDC and all the boards suggest. So we can never forget that tourism is part of the DNA of Palm Beach County. We say that hospitality is a way of life for us because tourism is what started this county. It was here. We call this America's first resort destination because Flagler built those two beautiful resorts, the first golf course in between, created all sorts of cultural activities in the early days. And that's what created the two cities of Palm Beach and West Palm Beach. So it's been part of our history, our DNA, and we will survive this because we've been through wars and other things in the past, and we'll have a future in tourism for sure.
Thank you, Jorge. And I want to, we'll wrap up, but I think certainly last thoughts. Jorge certainly gave us, he's very optimistic, and we all are. I think the teams have really come together, and we've done a tremendous recovery plan that we're all proud of, and I think the Board of County Commissioners is proud of. So last thoughts. Dave, give us your thoughts.
I get asked constantly, what can people do? And I think what you can do is attend if you feel comfortable in doing so. There's lots of outdoor opportunities and ways to get engaged in the cultural institutions. If you can make a contribution, they could certainly use that support. And invite friends and families down so that when they're here, we can make sure that we're building those audiences back up. So I'm hopeful and optimistic about our recovery too, but it's going to take us some time.
Thank you, Dave. George, last thoughts?
I think Jorge said it best. I think this county is positioned better than most destinations to recover. I believe that's the case also from a sports perspective. And while it's been a challenging time, and as we talk about the challenges and the heartbreak that we've seen because of the pandemic, I don't think we should ever lose sight of the optimism, because I know the future will be better and we'll come back stronger than we were before. So it's just a matter of time, and I'm very, very optimistic as well.
Very good. Jody, last thoughts.
So dine out, take a staycation. I have got to applaud the restaurant community at the pivot they've been able to do for takeout and delivery, and the enhanced outdoor seating. If you've been by any of them, they look like outdoor bistros, like Pistache. It's amazing, the creativity, what they've done. There's a reason they're in culinary, and they're going to keep it up. So dine out and take a staycation.
And sign up for the pledge.
Last thought. Go ahead. Last thought.
I was just going to say, sign up for the pledge. If we don't beat the pandemic, if we don't crush the curve, if we don't beat this virus, nobody's going to come back. So the first things first, we've got to get rid of this virus. We got to get it into a manageable level. Other countries have been able to do it. We can do it. If we get to do that, things will start to moving in the right direction. And Lord knows we need to do that. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
And please know there were many more questions we could have gone through with these leaders of tourism in the county. We're so lucky and so fortunate to have great leaders in this county for tourism, and these folks are part of them. And certainly I think we're going to make a difference as we go forward. So as Jorge said, the Palm Beaches pledge is so important. You got to mask up, wash your hands, stay distant. And if you see someone that's not, just politely say, hey, your mask really makes a difference. I think that has made a huge difference in Palm Beach County over the past 3 or 4 months. When masks really came into play, we started to see that positivity to go down. So it's certainly really important. And we're all in this together. We thank certainly the Chamber for helping get the word out. And it's so important. We're all hoping for a maybe not a V recovery. We'd love to have it, but we're going to get there, and we're all very optimistic that good times are ahead for us. So with that, I think I'll turn it back over to Mary Lou.
Thank you so much, Glenn, and thank you all to our panelists. Tourism, as we've all stated, is such a huge economic driver and so important to our area. So we're happy to highlight all of you and continue to support all of you. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here today, sharing your thoughts. Thank you, Glenn, for moderating in your remarks. And thank you to our presenting partner, Laura Trosclair and Ameren, for their support of this event, and Laura playing the role of MC. We appreciate this, and we hope we'll see all of you at our final session 3 starting at 11:30. And in the meantime, we do have some announcements, so stay tuned on this Zoom meeting, and we look forward to seeing you at the next session. Thanks so much, all. Have a great day.